enough is enough is enough. And the red line for the Israelis is they'll tolerate the odd rocket being sent over. Oh, by the way, I know I'm talking a lot here, Nick, but here's another interesting point, okay, is rockets. Forget about rockets. One of the favorite things that they do in Gaza is they create incendiary balloons, okay? They fill balloons with kerosene and flammable liquids, and then send them over to cause brush fires and forest fires in Israel. And one wonders, where are all of the environmentalists in the world when this is happening, okay? And this is not, Gaza is not occupied territory. This is the thing that people have to get into their heads. Gaza is not occupied territory. There is not a single Israeli gun, soldier, or anybody in Gaza. There is a blockade that is being organized by Israel and Egypt to prevent weapons from getting into Gaza. And I have to tell you, insofar as blockades go, wow, man, I mean, look at all the number of rockets, et cetera, that they have. How effective has that been? I don't know. I think it's an interesting question.
Yeah, it is. And what Hamas is doing is taking a page right out of the Japanese World War II tactic of sending incendiary balloons across the Pacific to start fires in the Pacific Northwest of the United States.
That's very funny. I hadn't thought of that, but now that you mentioned it, it's true.
Yeah, of course it is. As a matter of fact, you can see one of those balloons hanging in the Canadian War Museum. It's been disarmed, of course, but the point is that they're willing, I guess the overall point is they are willing to do anything. And it doesn't matter what, no matter how crazy, no matter how fruitless, no matter how the damage, the collateral damage, they just don't care. All they want to do is to remove Israel from the map. And Israel is a nation state created by the United Nations back in 1948 and has a completely legitimate right to defend itself. And Netanyahu's quite right. Say, look, you want to stop these airstrikes and these military retaliation for these rockets, then stop shooting the rockets, and we'll park the F-16s and we won't send any over, and you won't have anything to worry about. But Hamas isn't interested in that. It doesn't forward their agenda. It's like the old peace for land kind of tactic tried in the 70s and 80s. That didn't work either. It seemed like the more you gave them, the more they wanted, the more they asked for, the more they got. And it just never led anywhere. And it's why the peace process failed in the first place. So when I see people protesting in places like Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto, in their thousands, not a mask among them, or I shouldn't say that, there's probably some, but masks were certainly, there was social distancing was out the window, there certainly was no massive mask campaign. And I don't know this, but my hunch is that not a ticket was handed out to even one of them for breaking these rules that surround what our life is supposed to be like under COVID regulations. They just were allowed to do what they wanted to do, and it didn't matter how outrageous, how ridiculous, and how very much useful idiots. They are the Walter Durantes of the 21st century. And for those of you who don't know who Walter Durante is, just Google him. You'll get the idea. He was I'm not going to tell you. You can figure that out for yourself. Let's just say he liked Stalin and came back with glowing reports about how great socialism and communism was. And that's what these people are doing. They're attacking Israel at every opportunity in any way they can. I'm not talking about Hamas now. I'm talking about people here in North America. There was one video clip of an Orthodox Jew being chased by two people in two cars full of people with a Hamas Palestinian flag sticking out the window. The guy was running for his life because these two cars were after him. Now, look, he could have been the toughest guy in the world, but big eats little. You're not going to get into an argument with a 3,000-pound car, even if you do weigh 250 pounds. Just not going to happen. So, this kind of stuff, and nobody raises an eyebrow. Or there's a little, oh, tut-tut, we condemn this kind of activity, but they never really do anything about it. They don't, how many times have you seen Jewish cemeteries desecrated, or you've seen synagogues and places like that desecrated. And it lasts for half a day in the news cycle and is gone. Yet this has got legs that has been, 4 or 5 days old now, maybe a week?
Well,
it's outrageous.
Again, in fairness, it's a bigger, what's happening in the Middle East right now is a bigger event than protests here in Canada or wherever. But
let me put it to you this way: it's the rise in anti-Semitism, I think, is the story across the world, not just here in Canada,
right? And
very little coverage of that.
Well, and I think that's the point that I would make, Nick, is that these guys in Toronto or in Ottawa or Vancouver or Montreal or New York or Washington that are protesting outside of Israeli embassies or consulates, or that are protesting in Jewish neighborhoods, aren't chanting death to Netanyahu and death to Israel, or death to those evil occupiers. They're chanting death to the Jews, it can be a little unnerving. And speaking as a Jew myself, I shrug my shoulders. I go sticks and stones, and sticks and when you get names will never hurt me, and when you get to the sticks and stones, I'll have something to say about that.
Right.
But it's I don't know how you stop it. I don't. It's not something that is caused by the actions of the Israeli government any more than any other pogrom or demonstration against Jews has been. I can't explain it, Nick. It's convenient for people to think that it's.
Maybe we can't explain it in a sense that you and I, could articulate well. But at the back of my mind, when I watch these protests, I think, what kind of idiots are they? Let's say that Hamas actually was successful in its ultimate mission. Do you think all of a sudden they're going to become peaceful and everything's going to be hunky-dory? No, they'll just move to the next target. And they just don't understand that these people, let's take the Rainbow Coalition for Palestine or whatever it is, gay people supporting Hamas. Well, do they know what Hamas think of gay people? What do you think is going to happen if they ever eliminate Israel? Well, you're going to all of a sudden find your friend is your mortal enemy.
Well, and
I don't understand how they don't see that.
As the government of Iran has officially taken the position that they don't have a gay problem in Iran because nobody's gay in Iran.
They keep hanging them all.
Well, no, they don't have. There's nobody that's gay in Iran. I don't know what to say, Nick. It's an unfortunate situation, but as I always explain to my wife, ultimately, I don't care what they say because we have the land and we have the guns, and that might be a terrible thing to say, which is a good reason that we have a disclaimer at the beginning of these shows.
That's right.
But that's the reality that some of us live with from time to time, and in Canada, it's very hard to understand that. But it's not hard to understand that when you live in other places around the world, and not just in the Middle East. Anyway, we're coming to the top of the hour, Nick, so we're going to have to take another break. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the live broadcast, stay put. We're going to be back in a few minutes. And if you're listening to the repeat of the show as a podcast, thank you for joining us in segment number 2. And we will be happy to have you join us again Monday morning as we play part 3 of this week's episode on the Nick and Joe Show, coming to you from the Think Radio Broadcast Network.